we're going to try and buy what a family of four would buy every week, and we're going to see what the selection is, and we're going to see what it costs. Now, Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well. The low-carb lifestyle has not swept Russia. Thank heaven, because I mean, look at that. It's fresh, too. Look at that. Oh, come on. Unicorn and mini mills. All right. Some kind of Russian wheat cookies. Ooh, we need coffee, don't we? Yeah. I don't know if this is sugar or flour, to be honest with you, but it looks like a staple, so we should get it. It's a very good-looking package. It's got to be flour, right? And this is Russian wine. It's from Crimea, which not only has the warm water naval base, but also is the source of most of the grapes in this part of Russia for wine. So it's apparently pretty good. Cheese puffs. You check out of a grocery store and you've got gum, razor blades, and candy. Actually, they hide the razor blades because we steal them. But these are all seem to be Western products. Mars, Twix, Snickers, Milky Way, Bounty, Gillette, Paul's Cough Drops, Mentos. It's pretty non-sanctioned to me, but what do I know? I went from amused to legitimately angry. So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States, buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought. Corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all.
Hey folks, your old pal Chicago Ray. I've been on the radio talking to drivers for about the last hour 15 minutes. And I'm talking to at least 10 drivers going the other way. I'm heading down from Southern Wisconsin. And they're going to start refusing loads in New York City starting on Monday. All right? I got about 3 drivers that I drive with. They already vibered the boss and told them they ain't going to New York City. So, I don't know how far across the country this is or how many truckers are going to start denying loads to going to New York City. But I'll tell you what, you fuck around and find
something major is happening in the stock market right now. We're hearing news of a lot of tech CEOs and politicians already starting to offload their stock. We just had news of Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and this is more worrying. We even have politicians who are already starting to sell their stocks and buying puts, which means they're actually actively betting on the stock market going down. Now, the question I'm hearing is, why is this happening? Well, right now, the stock market is at all-time highs, rallying off AI hype. Now, I suspect a lot of these tech CEOs and politicians already know what's happening behind the scenes, and they're expecting a mini crash to happen. This is something that my analysts and I have extensively discussed within our Discord community, and we're already starting to load up on puts as well. Last week, we got a major move down, and we caught an 800% profit gain. I want more of these. We already signaled some last week, but in our Discord community, I'm planning on signaling a lot more puts. If you guys want to see our exact entry and exit, you feel free to join our community. It's 100% free to join. I'll see you guys soon.
car owners nationwide are experiencing the sharp rise into auto insurance rates. Bankrate says the average cost of full coverage car insurance is up 26% this year to about $2,500, and the rates can be much higher in certain states.
The experts we spoke to say there's a number of factors behind the increases this year. Increases in car crash fatalities, car thefts, and weather-related claims over the past few years, along with inflation driving up the cost of labor and vehicle parts. Now, Bankrate says the average annual premium is now $2,543 a year. That number can vary depending on your state, however. Massachusetts and Vermont have some of the nation's lowest rates, for example, as a percentage of their income spent. But on the flip side, in states like Louisiana and Florida, folks there are spending between $3,600 and $4,000 a year. That last one in Florida. Why so much in Florida? Bankrate analyst Shannon Martin tells me a lot of it is the weather. If you think about a flood during a hurricane, for example, one house can have 3 cars. So climate change has an impact on auto insurance rates, especially if you live in a state with increasing and more severe weather events. Also, in many states, insurance companies look at your credit score. If you have better credit, statistically, you are probably going to pay less.
News at Night Common Sense Department has a friendly reminder to any criminals who might be watching. April 15th is fast approaching, and the IRS wants to make sure that when you file your taxes, you include money from illegal activities, everything from prostitution to drug dealing to good old-fashioned stealing. In other words, if you, like hundreds of thousands of your fellow Americans, walked into your local drugstore, filled up your bags and walked out, and you did not return the property, the IRS says, quoting here, you must report its fair market value on your 1040 tax document. Don't blame the messenger. Common sense is just trying to keep you out of trouble. Not from the criminal activity you were involved in. No, heck, nobody prosecutes that anymore.
TikTok fam, ain't no fucking way that everybody's food stamps is just disappearing off their food stamp card. Ain't no fucking way. What's going on? Food stamp office, is y'all taking our food stamps and making it seem like somebody stole it from another state? What's going on? Y'all read my comments. I made a video about this. My food stamps, $1,000 disappearing off my card. I'm in Florida. People in Cali took my food stamps. And in my comments, it's a lot of people saying the same thing happened to them. What's really going on? Can somebody tell me what's really going on? And yes, I look a hot mess. Please don't come for me. I don't want to hear none of it. I don't.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and highest honors to Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father in Paleo-Ancient Hebrew, and to Yahweh Shai, the one you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, his name, in Paleo-Ancient Hebrew. Double honors to the Apostle Elders Great Millstone that rule well. Salutations to you brothers that preach, teach, and prophesy this word in truth and sincerity, who put our lives on the line in these last days to bring you this raw and this uncut truth. This is the brother Aryaga from the Grand Rapids, Michigan camp here with another nifty lesson. All right, let's get to it. Let's get straight to it. All right, what you see going on right now in New York, and well, let's start in New York, right? Because I want to go over a couple things. It's all outlining the economy of this place and how it's failing, right? Which is grinding, is painstakingly obvious at this point. There's only so much positive talk somebody can have about this country bouncing back, and we're not in not entering hyperinflation and what have you. And now that they have this situation with Trump and the truckers, I watched a video earlier, like right before I did this, and one of the real truckers was like, you know, he was just basically going into how that strike is bullshit, how the trucks are still moving and what have you. I always said that, you know, this whole situation with Trump is basically free campaigning publicity, because he's going to get back in there. If there's another election, whether you know, the Democrats like it or not, that devil is going to get back in office. Because the following behind him, even when he wasn't in a president's position, it was too powerful. You know, so unless they freeze these elections before they come into fruition and use some kind of black swan event or what have you, that devil, I can definitely see him getting back in there. Thing is, this whole situation with the trucker strike is not happening at this point in time. Now, I wouldn't doubt that this is a precursor for something that's to come, but right now it's not taking place. Between that situation and what we saw with if you saw that interview with Tucker Carlson when he was in Russia, that was a real big interview with Vladimir Putin, and it was also real heavy when he went to the store after him and his colleagues, and I'll play that. But it just goes to show you what's going on in this country. When you stop and you take a look at the things that are transpiring on different levels, there's different, like they say, it's levels to this. On one hand, on one level, everybody is enjoying cheaply purchased TVs and certain goods, but the price of food is increasing continuously. And then you have it set to where people are at an all-time homeless high, and you have vast majority of individuals being kicked out of their homes because they don't have the money to pay their rent. So you got a lot of things going on in this different layer cake. All right, let's call this, you know, a wicked-ass cake. And there's layers to this cake. And everybody's affected on every layer at some shape and point. And the ones on top, that cherry on top, are the elites. And, you know, you save the cherry on top, usually people save that, you know, or the strawberry or whatever, for last, right? But nonetheless, the people at the bottom are already feeling it. And then you come into the middle class is being done away with. And then you come into the upper class, you know, the upper middle class, that final layer. And you know, they're not making as much money as they used to. Car insurance, let's see, mortgage rates, these things are all increasing drastically as of 2024. And this is just the beginning. But they're gradually feeling it, you know, just like the people at the bottom. So let's go ahead and just play this. Like I said, I'll put these up in post-production. I'm going to put this up real quick just to give you an idea, unless you live under, unless you've been living under a rock. It's all over the news. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's get it out there. Because what you see is not always what is. But that's part of those devices that they utilize to keep you in the confusion while they line up their ducks in a row and prepare for the next, like I said, the next Black Swan event, man. All right.
Truck drivers now are refusing to take deliveries into New York City in protest of the more than $350 million civil fraud rule. Drivers now are refusing to take deliveries into New York City in protest of the more than $350 million civil fraud ruling against former President Donald Trump, and the boycott starts tomorrow.
All right, and that's what they saying on all of these news networks, but you got real truckers coming in, and they're basically like, hey, there's still freight. There's still freight moving, right? Like this guy right here. Of course, he got the Trump hat on, right? Some dude made a good point. You know, he driving at night with his shades on like he Corey Hartman or some shit. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can drive in my truck. All right, but let's see what he got to say.
Hey folks, your old pal Chicago Ray. been on the radio talking to drivers for about the last hour 15 minutes, and I'm talking to at least 10 drivers going the other way. I'm heading down from south Wisconsin, and they're going to start refusing loads in New York City starting on Monday. All right? I got about 3 drivers that I drive with. They already vibrated the boss and told them they ain't going to New York City. So, I don't know how far across the country this is, or how many truckers are going to start denying loads to going to New York City. But I'll tell you what, you fuck around and find it.
Something major.
Yeah, you're right. And we fucking around and finding out that, one, the price of food is increasing steadily, regardless of a trucker strike or not. That shit was already there. And 2, we're finding out that this mainstream media is also doing the same thing it always does, which is it's good at cohorting and confusing and, you know, basically keeping the people in the dark. Or they also use it to, you know, mislead people with your Fox Newses and your NBCs and all of that. You know, they cause mass confusion. Even that devil Trump made a point, you know, false news. Yeah, this false news shit is really brought in a lot of confusion amongst the people. All right, let's keep going. I'm gonna go get some scriptures on this.
Something major is happening in this.
Hold up. Run it back. All right, let's see.
Something major is happening in the stock market right now. We're hearing news of a lot of tech CEOs and politicians already starting to offload their stock. We just had news of Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and this is more worrying. We even have politicians who are already starting to sell their stocks and buying puts, which means they're actually actively betting on the stock market going down. Now, the question I'm hearing is, why is this happening? Well, right now, the stock market is at all-time highs, rallying off AI hype. Now, I suspect a lot of these tech CEOs and politicians already know what's happening behind the scenes, and they're expecting a mini crash to happen. This is something that my analysts and I have extensively discussed within our Discord community, and we're already starting to load up on puts as well. Last week, we got a major move down, and we caught an 800% profit gain. I want more of these. We already signaled some last week, but in our Discord community, I'm planning on signaling a lot more puts. If you guys want to see our exact entry.
Right. So what you have, like you said, these hypes from AI due to the AI, right? To the AI hypes on the stock market has a lot of people selling. Majority of them are these politicians. Why? Because they know that a black swan event is coming up, and as they move into that time, the politicians are the first ones to roll over. They're like, hey, okay, all right, let's do that. Let's go ahead and let's roll over, and let's make sure we're in good, like in a good situation. So when it does take place, then all we have to do is basically, you know, fall back on the money or the riches that we have, and go into our bunkers, because we took the time while everybody was still looking at the Super Bowl and just being distracted, right? LGBTQ rights and all this other shit, they're just completely distracted from what's really taking place. And in this vast amount of time that we have, it's vast because, you know, since 2019, they told you what was going to happen. You had ample time to get your household in order. And I'm not talking about just, you know, somebody going and stockpiling food and things like that, but more so get your household in order and your spirit, get your family in check for the times that we coming into, because there's no amount of gold or silver that's going to save you from this day, right? You got to have your spirit in order, okay? But before I play this Tucker Carlson video. It says, Haggai 1:6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but you have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. I mean, you can't even keep, look, the vast majority of the people right now, the common man, average Joe six-pack, does not have the money to cover an emergency situation. They did a study on that, and they said over 57, which I believe the number is quite higher, don't have $2,000 in their account for an emergency situation. And I know it's way more than that, all right? Because when they say that, they're really talking about Edomites or white people. Because the average white household used to be able to maintain, like especially in the middle class, at least $2,000, up to $5,000 to maintain themselves, just in case emergency struck. But now, that's out the window. Okay, your money is gone before you even put your hands on it. As we are quickly moving over to this digital currency. All right, they're making it harder and harder for you to save. And put money to the side. This is not set aside for you to be able to prosper and make it. What they're doing is preparing you for that money transfer over into the digital currency, the CBDC, and you'll have to give up all your paper money just to receive some kind of digital currency. But we already know the price tag that comes with that, which is that MOTB mark of the beast, man. You're gonna have to get that that RFID chip put in your hand. You know, they already got the goddamn skull implants from Elon Musk Neuralink, you know. But yeah, these wages are disappearing faster than we're able to put them in our pockets. As soon as you get some money in your pocket, that shit is gone. Boosh. Okay? It's already gone. But let's go ahead and play that real quick.
So we're going to try and buy what a family of four would buy every week, and we're going to see what the selection is, and we're going to see what it costs. You know, Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well. The low-carb lifestyle has not swept Russia. Thank heaven, because I mean, look at that. It's fresh, too. Look at that. Oh, come on. Unicorn and mini mills. All right. Some kind of Russian wheat cookies. Ooh, we need coffee, don't we? I don't know if this is sugar or flour, to be honest with you, but it looks like a staple, so we should get it. It's a very good looking package. It's got to be flour, right? And this is Russian wine. It's from Crimea, which not only has the warm water naval base, but also is the source of most of the grapes in this part of Russia for wine. So it's apparently pretty good.
Now, hold on. All right. There's a scripture I wanted to bring out, right? Because the basics that a man needs to prosper in his dwelling place. All right, I wanted to point this out. Just looking at the things that Tucker is buying, right? Because they're just average things. That's one of the main reasons he went to the store, because they needed average supplies to last them for a week. Him and his crew. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus 36 and 26, or 39 and 26. Says the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour, wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All right. All of these things are the basic necessities that most people spend their money on, from the ancient world all the way until now. All these things are for the good of the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil. All right, so as you see the simple things that he's buying right now, he's purchasing these simple things, right? You see him holding up the blood of the grapes, which is that wine, right, from Crimea. So let's continue.
On water naval base, but also is the source of most of the grapes in this part of Russia for wine. So it's apparently pretty good. Cheese puffs. You check out of a grocery store and you've got gum, razor blades, and candy. Actually, they hide the razor blades because we steal them. But these are all seem to be Western products. Mars, Twix, Snickers, Milky Way, Bounty, Gillette, Pulse cough drops, Mentos. It's pretty non-sanctioned to me, but what do I know? I went from amused to legitimately angry. So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody here is from the United States, buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought, corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized.
Right, radicalized. A lot of people will sit back and they're like, well, shit, it's all right to me. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, pretty soon, it's going to be to the point where the basic necessities, like I read, that men usually spend their money on. When that hyperinflates overnight, which this is the route that we're coming on. So they're giving you different avenues it can come. It can come allegedly from a trucker strike, which is not right now, yet it still has the avenue to go down that way. They're just letting you know different ways that they can basically bring an emergency situation across the whole U.S. in a way that's going to affect you and cause this hyperinflation. The stock market, they're selling off their stocks multiple ways, right? Ecclesiasticus 21:4. To terrify and do wrong will waste riches. That's what these elites do. They terrify and they do wrong. They start wars. This country's only been at peace, I think they said, for since its establishment for 5 years without going to war. Ever since then, it's always been some type of war, all right? And then you look at what they're doing is sending $1 billion packages, $6 billion and $3 billion to Ukraine. And to the war effort in Ukraine and as well to Israel, all right, which are the nation's biggest charity cases, or the least of them, right? The least of the nations, Israel, just a big American charity case. They're sending out all these money to these different nations, and the people here aren't sustained. So to terrify and do wrong will waste riches. All they doing is wasting these riches. Thus the house of proud men shall be made desolate. This place is being made desolate right before your eyes, whether you can realize it or whether you're willing to accept it or not. The truth of the matter is, these riches are being brought down right in front of you. This whole country is. 2 Ezra 16 and 40, it says, O my people, hear my word, make ye ready for the battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Because there's going to come a time where people, when you can't eat correctly in one location, and there's violence and all kind of hell breaking loose, you're going to have to move around. People aren't going to, you don't have resources stacked up and a shelter, a hidden away shelter with all kind of food and, you know, all the things that a person may need. You don't have any of those things, guess what's gonna happen? And you can have those and still be in a messed up situation. You don't know where you're gonna be when this shit goes down. You know, well, nonetheless, you're gonna end up moving around. You're gonna have to move from one location to another just to have the opportunity to eat. It says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. Right? Because in that time, in that day, people are going to be radicalized because they are no longer able to get the essentials, milk, bread, cheese, right? And you seeing the difference right now. They thought, they calculated it up to $400 American that stuff will cost. It only costed $104 for a family of 4 to eat for a whole week. That shit is unheard of over here. To get a small bag of groceries that'll last you for a couple days from your leading grocery chain is $100, man. Especially if you have a family, you can double that. All right, it's embarrassing. It says, like it says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. Right? Because if you are thinking that you're going to buy these retails from these retail places and sell the stock and do all of these different things that people have been able to do over the years, buying pallets and selling and shit, you're going to have a lot of people buying a whole bunch of items, and overnight they're not going to be able to sell them. They're going to be worth nothing because the main, you know, thing that's going to be on a person's mind is getting the basics: eggs, bread, cheese, milk. You know what I'm saying? The things, some damn wine, because they're going to be depressed and they want to make their hearts merry. All of these things are not going to be accessible at a reasonable price. That's when the radicalization is going to really kick in. It says, he that occupies merchandise is he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. So if you occupying merchandise, when all this shit jumps off, which is very soon, that's a wrap. That's a wasted investment. You ain't gonna be able to do anything with that. I just got a big ass, you know, shipment of shirts and shoes, or a big ass shipment of some shit people might not need but want, like some workout equipment or some shit. You know, when all hell break loose, people is not gonna be thinking about getting toned abs and buying dietary supplements and shit. They're gonna be trying to get the basics. As he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. It says, he that soweth as he should as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. Right, because guess what? You have migrant workers that come over and gather those grapes and strawberries. But if they're not able to work out in the field because the money is shut down or some black swan event happens, guess what happens? He's not going to get his rich ass out there and start gathering all them grapes. Got acres and acres and shit. And they don't have these new machines to do it or what have you. That shit is going to just go bad over the vine, or people going to come from different places and they're going to start eating on it. And they're going to have to defend it. You know, it's just going to be a whole bunch of different scenarios taking place for survival. It says, they that marry is they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain. A lot of these people bust their ass at these jobs to make nothing, right? Not even the minimum wage or the regular wages that it would cost to take care of a family. And then you have people saying, well, if we take up the wages, which is just how the society works, then the price of food is going to go up. So you pay people above average wages or you know, a little bit more than minimum wage, let's say at McDonald's. Guess what? The price of burgers go up. Price of meals go up. So the way that this place is built is off the back of debt. And if you increase this right here, then the debt that you will have to inquire or pay is going to increase over here. They built that unfair and unstable system to be this way for a reason. Ecclesiasticus 13:21. It says the bread of the needy, it says the bread of the needy is their life, but he that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. And this government that is over us are men of blood, because that money, what did the Rothschilds say? That war is a racket. Also that, money, you can make the most money when blood is in the streets, man. Because the more people that die, the less amount of debt that is inquired. All right. And this is what it's all really about. It's about, controlling the population, how many people can function, getting rid of all of the undesirables. This is what it really comes down to. Ecclesiastes 12:3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of their windows be darkened. Yeah. Hey, that grinding is ceasing, man. Because what a mill does, it grinds the wheat fine. Well, in these plants, a lot of these factories and these restaurants are closing because they're not able to support the increase that they have to pay for the goods. The buy and sell increase is too uneven, and they're losing their businesses, or they're forced, conglomerates are forced to shut a number of their stores, right? It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. It says, when the sound of the grinding is low, right? There ain't gonna be all these people commuting, going to their jobs, and everybody, making some kind of income. It's gonna get tighter and tighter. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Right, because all of this music is garbage anyway, but it's not going to be a whole bunch of celebrating once reality starts kicking in. It says also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and the fear shall be in the way, and then the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and the desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Right, so like it says right here, the fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden. Right, because you're not going to have people to pick these different things. Just imagine like I Am Legend when the streets started, New York City looked like a damn jungle, It's not going to be able to cut the grass and cut the hedges and the trees. It says the desire shall fail, okay? Grasshopper shall be a burden, and not to mention, you see this wildlife going ham anyway. Don't get started with all these different locusts and these different plagues of Egypt that's hitting this place. But as well, things are going to start going unchecked, man. Where they use all of that, people go out there, they have the different planes and shit to drop, all kind of pesticides. All that shit is going to be out the window. It says the desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home. Ain't nobody going to be motivated to go out here and work for these nothing wages and not be able to support their families and what have you. It's going to be survival of the fittest out here. It says, and the mourners go about the streets. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people in a broken condition going about these streets because they can't eat like they usually do. See, right now, shit is all good because they have the fatness of bread, right? The abundance of bread, which is just not necessarily just a bread that you put, a sandwich or burger on, but more so the abundance of food is starting to be restricted now. So in a nation that is primarily built of obese people, what you think is going to happen? They're going to be at each other's throats. That motherfucker can't get that porterhouse steak or that goddamn $1.50 cheeseburger and shit. hey, people are going to respond aggressively. Isaiah 19:3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. This is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. America is. It's also known as Babylon. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Right, because people are wanting answers. And these people aren't spiritual, they carnal men, so they go into some wizards and soothsayers and palm readers and psychics and shit. When they couldn't even, them damn psychics and these palm readers couldn't tell them, that whole incident in 2019 was coming. So how the fuck are they gonna tell you when the next, most reasonable time will be, right? It says, and the Egyptians will give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua of hosts, right? And I'm going to tell you now, whether Trump get in there or whoever gets in that next presidency, if they do or if they freeze those elections, however it goes, trust and believe, they are going to go all out. Because the scripture says that will happen but a short time. And they know they only got a short time to bring about this new world order and implement all these different laws and these draconian laws, because, hey, once it gets started, it's going to move fast. Once they bring in that mark of the beast, it's going to move fast. Revelation 6:5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him with had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice out of the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, thou hurt not the earth, the oil and the wine, which is this word and this truth. This word is not going to be hurt, and the men that the Lord choose, his elected, are not going to be hurt. All right? They're not going to be affected by these things. But everybody else around that is going to be messed up, because once they increase the amount that you have to pay just to get something small, then everybody is going to change. Their attitude is going to change immediately. People celebrating because it's not that way right now, but it's fast approaching. It says, oh yeah, I want to show this too. Let me see. Because this right here too, those that are fully dependent on this system, that got the riches from this system. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot about this one too. I'll probably just put this up in post-production. Play a little bit of it.
Car owners nationwide are experiencing the sharp rise into auto insurance rates. Bankrate says the average cost of full coverage car insurance is up 26% this year to about $2,500, and the rates can be much higher in certain states.
The experts we spoke to say there's a number of factors behind the increases this year. Increases in car crash fatalities, car thefts, and weather-related claims over the past few years, along with inflation driving up the cost of labor and vehicle parts. Now, Bankrate says the average annual premium is now $2,543 a year. That number can vary depending on your state, however. Massachusetts and Vermont have some of the nation's lowest rates.
All right, so it just goes to show everything is increasing. I'll put this up in post-production. Everything is increasing, okay? All of this stuff is increasing, not just the food, but all of these luxuries that used to be a reasonable cost that were already too much are going up off the handle, man. Because they don't want, these elites don't want you to drive.
TikTok fam.
They don't want you to be able to get around, or support yourself, okay?
Ain't no fucking way that everybody's food stamp is just disappearing off their food stamp card. Ain't no fucking way. What's going on? Food stamp office, is y'all taking our food stamps and making it seem like somebody stole it from another state? What's going on? Y'all read my comments. I I made a video about this. My food stamps, $1,000 disappearing off my car. I'm in Florida. People in Cali took my food stamps. And in my comments, it's a lot of people saying the same thing happened to them. What's really going on? Can somebody tell me what's really going on? And yes, I look a hot mess. Please don't come for me. I don't want to hear them.
Yeah, so look, now they even taking those government benefits. You know it's the government doing it. They just saying somebody else did it. Isaiah 30:1, woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel. It's so you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Natives that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, and that they may add sin to sin. It says that walk and go down into Egypt. Once again, this is spiritual Sodom and Egypt, as the scriptures say in Revelation, and have not asked at my mouth, right? Because you trust in this system to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. And they trust in the shadow of this place. You know, a lot of these women go and they have children, especially so-called black women, then they divorce or they separate from their children's father, he got to pay child support. She gets money, cash assistance, and food stamps from the system. This is that common running system, and that shit is going downhill now. That's out of pocket now. The Lord is he's starting to get rid of that. That self-sufficient shit for these women is going out the window quick. Isaiah 30:3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, right? Because that Pharaoh is the president, this government, these elites. And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. And then she looking confused, like, who the hell is taking my stamps? 1,000 stamps somebody took it in Cali, yeah. That's part of this system shutting down, man. And I bet you they gave it to some of those migrants that's coming over here. All right, I bet you they gave that money to them. All right. Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. The strength of salvation and fear of the Lord is his treasure. So if you don't have that going on, hey, when all hell breaks loose, you will be in terrible condition. Okay? Straight up. And ain't nothing you can do about it then, because it's already going to be upon your head. All right? And when it's on your head, all you can do is deal with it, because you didn't choose to utilize this time wisely to prepare. All right? Mentally, spiritually. This is 2nd Ezra 14:13. Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go fro thee mortal thoughts, cast away burdens of man, and put off now the weak nature. It's not the time to be weak. Hard times make strong men, all right? And these weak men are going to find out what a strong man look like in these times, and it starts with having a strong foundation in the Lord. Or remember that knowledge and wisdom being the stability of thy times, like I said in Isaiah 33. All right, so the ones that believe in the Lord truly and that have their faith built up, when all this stuff goes down, they'll be in better condition than the ones that fell in love with this system and trusted in the shadow of Egypt, man. It says, and set aside the thoughts that have made, that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. So you're supposed to be really trying to flee away from these times. This ain't the time to get comfortable and kick back and shit and relax. You are supposed to be getting your household in order and not walking around moping and woe is me and shit like that's gonna solve it. Yeah, we are as Prisha making a wise man, but at the same time, this should be motivating you to get yourself in order, to get your household in order, so you can be in good condition. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, wherever you are physically, mentally, or spiritually in those times is where you're going to be at, and it's only going to decline. All right? So get your household in order, get yourself in order. Yes, because once the realization of how bad things are kicks in over here, everybody's going to be in a turmoil. And it's going to be too late because the government is already putting their ducks in a row, setting up for that MOTB mark of the beast, and gradually taking the power from the people. Because what did they say? In the future, you will own nothing and be happy. Why? Because a slave owns nothing. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a wrap. Be circumspect. Pay close attention to the things that are taking place, because prophecy is unfolding every day. All right. Stay circumspect. Stay prayed up. Get your household in order, because we are in the home stretch. All right. So with that, I pray you will edify. Till the next time, I bid you shalom.